Okay, so the class is being recorded, and this is A to 30A, and this is our third week. Been together for the past 2 weeks, and this is our third. What is it that we're talking about? We're today, inshallah, wrapping up the whole discussion about Othello and the age that he represents, and we're likely to shift to another play, which is The Duchess of Malfi. We have spoken a lot about a lot of things, as a matter of fact, when it comes to Othello and the age that he represents. Spoke about the set of hierarchies that he is bound by and that he is surrounded with, that he has to honor. But obviously, he is not. We have, like I said, we have social hierarchy, we have hierarchy of race, and also the hierarchy of color. Again, we also said that not honoring them is obviously a big deal, is obviously a digression. It's something that society does not condone or accept. Um, so it's not only Othello who obviously didn't honor and follow those rules of the game. Obviously, it is also Desdemona. And obviously, the play as such, what we have seen at the end, the fact that Desdemona and Othello are going to die tragically. Obviously, the play can be seen as such as a cautionary tale. It's a tale for all people. It tells them that they shouldn't be pursuing the same path or um, route. The fact that people have to keep to their sections and levels in society. If you're born white, you should keep to your white community. If you're born black, you should keep to your station at the bottom of the social ladder and the hierarchy of color and race. Again, we said nothing can be more befitting in this case than the dramatic form that we call tragedy, because obviously it is tailored to serve those purposes, to give us that trajectory of an exceptional character who commits, who plunders, who makes errors, and pays for them, pay the price of those errors at the end, stirring our feelings of pity and fear and cleansing us of excessive feelings and emotions. Um, so this is the whole thing. I'm stressing the fact that the play can be seen in different lights. It can be interpreted differently depending on the perspective. But one thing is obviously constant, is the idea that if the play is read against the age it was written in, it is definitely a cautionary tale, cautioning people against mixing with other classes and um, that transgressing and violating established social orders. The last point that we stopped on, if you still remember, was this exchange, this long exchange between Othello and Iago, in which Iago is going to start this journey of insinuation, the fact that he's going to start to drop uh, hints about um, some kind of relationship and affair between Cassio and Desdemona. Uh, what we have seen in the exchange which is otherwise known as the echo scene or passage. Not passage, of course, because it's a dialogue, then it's a conversation. This echo part is what we're seeing is a conversation that is not just another conversation. In conversations and in normal conversations, you would have people honoring this idea of adjacency pairs in linguistics, the idea that you have those adjacency. You ask me a question and I answer. You say, what's your name? And I say, Sameh, for example. How are you? I tell you I'm fine, or perhaps I'm not. So this is um, how conversations go. You ask a question and I answer in a normal way. You uh, um, answer a question that I pose to you in a normal way. This is obviously not happening. And what we're having from Othello, I'm sorry, from Iago is what we call dispreferred responses. There is a theory for that. Normally, you expect an answer. You also expect a preferred answer. So again, when I ask you, are you a student at the Arab Open University? And I know for a fact that you are a student at the Arab Open University, and you normally say yes. What is perhaps not preferred and what is preferred, not expected, is the idea that you would say, give me a second, please. Sorry for the interruption. So I was saying that the exchange that we have seen, the conversation is not following the rules of normal conversation. And obviously, if it's not following, there is a reason or a purpose behind that. Um, I would like to read this part against a theory in human language or in linguistics called Grice's theory or principle theory. It's called cooperative principle, Grice's cooperative principle. And I would like you to take note of this theory and read more about it. What does it say? The theory is that for a conversation to kind of go the way it is expected to happen and to achieve the outcomes that were foreseen for it, it has to follow rules, and those rules are implemented by the two interlocutors, the two people who are part of this conversation. Again, it's about saying enough. It is about saying relevant stuff. It's about being honest. So these are the principles that any good conversation is built on. For a conversation to be successful, it has to meet these criteria. Um, so I'll give you a couple of minutes to go and dig deep in, I mean, use any language model and write Grice's cooperative principle. I'll write the name in the chat, and I would like you to go and read about it for 5 minutes. So it's Grice's cooperative principle, otherwise known as Grice's maxims. Go. I'll give you 5 long minutes to read about that, and then when you have understood them, we can apply them to the conversation between Othello and Iago once more. Yalla. You guys have 5 minutes from now. Okay. Have we read Rice's cooperative principle, Rice's maxims? What do you know about them now that we have read?
That it is a rule, to make the conversation easy and make it good.
Yeah, and to make it successful, which means that you go away, the two people, the two conversants, they go away satisfied with what is happening. They understood each other, and the message from either side was loud and clear, right? Yeah, for this to happen, what do we need, Yatala? For this to happen according to Grace,
We need for stuff.
we have four maxims that we have to follow, that we
Yes.
have to think of and be guided by. What are those four maxims? What are those four principles? المبادئ
uh,
الأربعة. What are they?
the first one, maximum of equality.
Yeah, maximum of quality, whatever that means. What does quality mean for Grace?
The much of information that everyone give.
Yeah, you're talking about quality, right? You started off with quality.
Oh yes.
Quality, yeah, which is fine. Quality means that people have to be honest in what they say. They have to be truthful. They have to say the truth. They shouldn't lie, right?
Yes.
So this is quality. Okay, can somebody give us the other or the second maxim? Yeah, somebody was raising, Wala, I think, was raising her
The
hand.
maximum of quantity.
Yeah, okay, let me write it down. Quantity. Okay, so Aisha, what does quantity mean here?
That the speaker gives enough information and not too much. Like however much is enough in
Okay,
this
yeah,
situation.
enough. Okay, it goes, by the way, both ways. You don't give too much and you don't give too little, right? So
Yeah.
quantity is about giving enough. What is our definition of enough? It means not, it's not too much and it's not too little either, right? Very good. Let's move on to the third maxim. Can we have somebody tell us about the third maxim?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
the maxim of relation, be
Yeah. Oh,
relevant.
yeah. Relation. Excellent. Relation is about relevance.
Yes.
Okay. I don't ask you about your name and you tell me the weather is good today or the weather is fine today. I don't ask you about Dr. Samih and you tell me about Dr. Mohsin or Dr. Arwa or any other doctor, right? I don't ask you about the exams and you talk about something else outside. You talk about games and matches and who is playing with whom today, right? So relevance is very important. So it's about staying on task. It's about staying relevant and to the topic. Yeah, being
Connected to the
faithful.
topic.
Yes. So this is relation. We have one more maxim. What's that?
Maximum
Yeah, go ahead.
maximum of manner of manner.
Maxim, what's your name? Maxim of
Ruwaida.
manner. Who's that?
Ruwaida.
Ruwaida. So what does this maxim say, Ruwaida? You're saying maxim of manner.
Be clear, brief, and order.
Yeah, which mean it's about clarity. Clarity means that you shouldn't perhaps you shouldn't be beating around the bush. You shouldn't be ambiguous or obscure, if you're not sure about something and you cannot explain it, I mean, you obviously try to explain it to the best of your knowledge, but you shouldn't be obscure or unclear. It's about clarity. Yeah, very good. So these maxims should be followed in our normal conversation. And if we follow them uh, um, correctly, obviously our conversations will be successful and the messages we're trying to get across to each other will be, um, delivered. Um, okay. So what do you think? Which of these maxims uh, um, okay, then I'm not going to judge and I'm not going to spoil it for you. We'll go back to the conversation, the echo conversation, and we're going to try to see whether the conversions, I mean, I'm talking about Iago and Othello, are flouting. Flouting means violating or not following those maxims or not. Ready for that? Yes, you are.
Yes.
Remember this conversation?
Yes.
Okay. Let's read it. Read it on your own, and I'll give you a couple of minutes. And I would like you to tell me whether the people here, how many people do we have? We have Othello and Iago, and obviously they are talking. And when people talk, and it's you and I, and perhaps they at one point, it's a conversation. So I would like you to check it against the Grice's maxims and whether they are in violation of the cooperative principle or not. Yeah, I'll give you a couple of minutes. Read it very thoroughly and very carefully. If you want a context, obviously they are talking about Cassio. Othello, oh yes, and went between us very oft, very often. They are talking about Cassius. Othello, Iago is asking if he knows Cassio. I mean, knows the true Cassio, obviously. If Othello says yes, and he went between us. Us here is a reference to Othello and Desdemona very often. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, is the first one, can I answer
No,
it?
no, 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 it's not. I don't need an answer. I need a conversation. We'll talk about it when you have finished the whole thing and when you have the big picture. Okay, so don't restrict or limit yourself to only a sentence or two. Okay, perhaps you'll find some difficulty in some of the old English words that they are using. So A, indeed, A of course means yes. Discernest thou means you. Discern means think. So do you think ought here means um, a thing? There is something. Do you think there is something in that? Um, my Lord, for ought I know, for ought I know, it means I don't know. What dost thou think? What do you think? Thou echoest me, you are echoing me, as if there were some monster in thy thought, in your thought. Okay, this is obviously the modern English version of it. I'm hopeful this is helpful. Okay. Um, so again, if there is flouting of the maxims, you can feel that something is wrong with the conversation, even without, kind of knowing exactly what is wrong. So was that your first gut feeling when you have read the conversation? Remember, this is not our first time to read the conversation. So did you feel that something was wrong, but you couldn't pin it down? You couldn't say it's this or that?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, he giving him big
No.
answers.
Okay. So last time you felt that something is not right. Okay. Um, so let's now, and we now have a name for that. We now have a theoretical name of that. It's what we call Grice's cooperative principle. Okay. The maxims, the four maxims that we spoke about, and whether the people in the conversation are in violation of those maxims or they are following them. If you're keeping to the maxims, this is good. If you're not keeping to them, obviously you the conversation goes somewhere else. So let's talk about the maxim that you think wasn't touched. I mean, let's start with the least violated, the least flouted maxim, the maxim that was fine, that was uh, um, kind of followed. Which one do you think was okay of the four maxims?
Maximum of quantity.
No. Think, please think. Now we don't want to guess. Think. What do you think of the maxim of relation? Relation is about relevance. Do you think the two of them are relevant? Are they talking about the same thing?
Oh, yes.
Yes, the answer is yes. They are relevant. Both of them are. So nobody is flouting the maxim of relation. That's good. So this is one maxim out of the way. Okay. How about the other maxims? Come to the mic and tell me what do you think of the maxim of, we're going to leave the maxim of quality for a while because this is going to be an assessment or perhaps a value judgment later. Let's focus on the maxim of manner and quantity. Let's start with quantity. Abdurrahman,
Yes,
go ahead. Yeah,
maximum of quantity. Diego constantly giving him a little bit information.
yeah, very good. So he's not giving him what he, I mean,
Yeah,
if I ask you a question, you give me a full answer, right? So obviously, Iago is not doing that. So Iago is in violation of the maxim of uh, um, quantity, right? Good. How
yes,
about,
he was holding a lot of details.
yes, which is obviously not preferable. It's normally when people talk and when I ask you a question, I expect you to give me all the details. Very good. How about the maxim of manner? Manner is about what?
Clear,
Manner
to
is,
be clear.
yeah, very good. Manner is about clarity, lack of obscurity, right? Directness and straightforwardness. So, do you see that Iago is following or is honoring this maxim? Clarity?
No.
No, he's not. Give me examples of that.
Every time Othello asked him think, he said, indeed, oh, honest, like this. He didn't
I mean, the
answer
idea,
straight.
yeah, he doesn't answer straight. He keeps echoing and repeating. So obviously, when you repeat, I mean, there is obviously no need for you to repeat what I'm saying. If it's a normal, casual conversation, I'm asking you a question, you need to give me a clear answer, a clear, straightforward, direct answer. And obviously, Iago is not doing any of that, right? To the extent that Othello starts to suspect that something is wrong and that Iago is hiding monstrous thoughts, right? Which brings us to the maxim of quality. So if that far, if Othello thinks that Iago is withholding something, is hiding something, so this is obviously a violation of the maxim of quality, right? Quality is about being honest, right? So obviously, uh, um, Iago is not being honest, and of course, the fact that he is insinuating, the fact that he is alluding to the fact that there is an affair between Cassio and Desdemona uh, um, is obviously in violation of the maxim of quality because there is none, and both of them are honest, and the relationship is a relationship of mutual respect and okay. So you see how the four maxims are being violated and flouted by Iago. Is that clear?
Yes.
This is also
Yes.
that also goes under what we said last time when when we spoke about adjacency pairs. You ask a question and I give you the answer that you expect and prefer. If you give me an answer that I am suspicious of, we normally call this preferred response. And obviously, you have an agenda. You're saying this because uh, uh, you have a reason or a purpose or perhaps an ulterior motive for that. Yeah, that was interesting, a very interesting exercise. Did you like the idea?
Yes,
Did
it
you?
make it more easier.
Yes, okay, good. So how about that? I think we can even apply it to all the conversations that we have in life. We go about, if we engage in a conversation with somebody, we try to apply those four maxims, perhaps on ourselves to be more transparent. It's you're not always the judge. You can even you yourself can be in violation of these maxims. So the takeaway here is that you try to not to violate these maxims in your encounters with other people, and with them you can spot whether people have inconsistencies in their conversation with you, right? And I even apply those because the other day somebody was asking me about my style when it comes to grading exams and marking and what I like best in student scripts and papers. And I keep telling them that they can follow those four maxims, right? Let's apply them ahead because the midterm exam is like is soon, right? So let's apply those maxims to uh, any upcoming exam, for example, the midterm exam, where you have essays and you have to write. So let's start with the maxim of quantity. What do you think? What do I expect? Quantity is about being uh, appropriately enough in your answer. You shouldn't be writing too little, right? And you shouldn't be writing too much. صح?
Yes.
So it's not about writing too little, nor is it about writing too much. Okay, so if you flout this maxim, obviously you get يعني fewer marks than you expect. And then you have the maxim of relation. Relation is about what? Is about
Uh,
relevance, right?
yes.
Yeah. Then some people are under the impression that it's about writing and filling the pages and full stop. Is it about that? I'm asking you.
No, it's
No,
about to be relevant here.
it's about being relevant. Oh, okay, if I ask you about Othello, you write about Othello. If I ask you about the Duchess of Malfi, you write about the Duchess of Malfi. If I ask you about, for example, the women characters in Othello and the Duchess of Malfi, you don't give me answers about the story, for example, the plot. You don't give me answers about the tragedy. You don't give me answers about the male characters. So keeping to the question, understanding the question very well will make you avoid irrelevance and falling into the trap of irrelevance, which is obviously violating and flouting the maxim of relation. How about the maxim of manner? Should we honor the maxim of manners in exams?
No, we need to be clear.
Yeah, manner is about clarity. So you have to be clear. Okay, it's not about using big, very big words, and you obviously you misuse them, you use them in the wrong context, and right? Obviously, uh, you need to think about clarity. I mean, clarity in sentence structure, clarity in even your handwriting. You make sure, I mean, we all, some people may have lousy handwriting like myself, but you need to try to work on that. So whether it's substance, the substance and the ideas that you write, you need to make sure that they are clear. You need to make sure that they flow they are written in a paragraph in an essay format where one paragraph leads to the other. You're observing the rules of cause and effect. Uh, uh, um, one idea leads to the other, coherence, clarity. So these are all things that you need to do in order to avoid the trap of lack of clarity. Yeah, that's interesting. Let's move on. So again, this is like I said, this is the start of this long journey of insinuations. So this is insinuate. What Iago is doing is insinuating that Othello, that Desdemona is doing something wrong and is having an affair with Cassio. So insinuation is about not being direct. Insinuation actually is violating all the maxims that we're talking about. So you're dropping hints. You're not giving, uh, um, bold statements about this or that. You are only hinting. You're dropping a word here and there. So this is actually going to be a laundry list of insinuations that Iago is making, and they will eventually lead to Othello believing and falling in the trap. The question remains. It is true that you may agree that Iago is the worst of all possible human beings, that he is cunning, that he is devilish and everything. But we're talking about the Othello, the gigantic, high and mighty Othello. Why would he fall so easily to Iago's insinuations? I mean, um, I can tell you anything. I can be devilish and I can be cunning, but you are also a human being who is endowed with the power of thinking, the power of critical thinking, checking whether what other people are saying is correct or wrong. So you have the same capacity as Iago. Why would you be readily and why would you be quick in believing him? So people attribute this to the idea that Othello was not comfortable in his own skin. Othello was insecure. So, according to them, this even started before Iago comes on the stage, before Iago becomes something big. Assuming this huge space in the life of Othello and Desdemona. So even before that, Othello has some inherent insecurities that made it possible to Iago to prevail on him, to convince him, to trick him into believing that Desdemona and Cassio have an affair. So I'm asking you, what do you think these insecurities are? Insecurities are inherent feelings of doubt, inherent feelings of you think that you're not good enough, you think that you don't have this psychological safety that perhaps other people enjoy and have. What do you think? Judging from the character of Othello, been seeing Othello for quite some time, what do you think are or these insecurities are? Give it a guess. That's fine. Always set Othello against the society that he lives in. Always set Othello against Desdemona. Okay, and you'll come up with lovely ideas. Hmm. What do you think?
I think Otelio is insecure about his reputation. He always value honors and reputation above all everything
Eh,
because he feel like he's a stranger in this society.
Yeah, I'll take the last part, which is him being a stranger. So if you're a stranger in a country, you don't feel okay, you don't feel secure, you don't feel safe, psychologically safe. You think that, I mean, all the eyes are on you, watching you, tracking every move you make, right? You feel nervous, right? Because you don't belong. You feel that you don't belong. So so this is something interesting, yeah, Abdurrahman, the fact that he feels like a stranger. He is actually a stranger. He is an outsider. Yeah. What other insecurities can you think of?
The gap maybe of the age between
Yeah.
him and the demon.
Excellent. There is an age gap. Excellent, mashallah ta'ala. There is an age gap. He is perhaps double her age or perhaps older. So the age gap, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. So being an outsider or a stranger, the age gap between himself and Desdemona. Yeah. What else?
He is insecure about like the lack of romantic experience. He always have been a soldier.
Yeah, that's very interesting. The fact that um, he's not given to. I mean, normally soldiers and the people who work in the army are known to be tough and rough. This is their life. I mean, we're not judging them. We're not saying that they are bad or anything. We're saying that they are given more to tough things. Life is dry for them. Life is in obviously on the borders where you have either desert or seas and rivers and oceans. Um, so they are not given to civilian life. They are not trained to live in the city and to deal with city dwellers, right? So this can also be, I feel, I mean, that can create insecurity within him, that he feels that he doesn't belong. His place is there in battlefields and in he does best when he is in a war, right? Yeah, that too is not given to even um, um, I mean the treatment of women, obviously, battlefields and wars and the army is about women, and I know that in the USA now and in some few countries you have women operating and working in the army, but this is obviously a rarity. This is something that is not across the board. It's limited to very few countries. So and obviously at the time women were not allowed to work in the army. So he doesn't see many women, he doesn't deal with them. And also the fact that he is a man of action. And obviously men of action are more, I mean, they are not into sentimentalization and saying sweet words, even though this guy is musical, remember? Yeah, go on. Any other
Yeah.
insecurity? Yeah, okay.
Yes, the other security, like he's deep in love with Demona, but he deeply thought he doesn't deserve it
Yeah, true. I mean, he doesn't deserve it because, yeah, because
because
he
of
is
his age, his race.
because he's of his age, his race, because he is yeah, these are reasons enough. He thinks that yeah, something is obviously wrong. Why would she fall for me? I'm twice or double her age. I'm black and she's white. Yeah, I'm sure he kept thinking of these things. Yeah. So, so those insecurities would help Iago in what he does. They are going to kind of come together with the insinuations, and the result would be catastrophic. The fact that Othello will come to the conclusion that because of all of that, Desdemona is having this affair. So Shakespeare suggests that it is Othello's own insecurity that gives Iago the opportunity to work on his feelings. So what are those insecurities? He is the outsider. I mean, we're talking about Othello, obviously. He is the outsider, the extravagant and willing stranger in this community of Venetians. He is always seen and perceived and portrayed as forever homeless, uprooted, and on the move, um, um, incapable of ever being naturalized, and he is ethnically different. Okay, these are all uh, um, things, contributing factors. I mean, the fact that he is, see how many words we have used for that: outsider, willing stranger, um, homeless, uprooted, on the move, unhoused, and not naturalized, and ethnically different. So you would add to this climate of racism the fact that Othello is middle-aged, the fact that he's, like I said, twice her age, and the fact that he is accustomed to the exclusively male world of military life and quite unaccustomed to the company of women. So obviously, these all would predispose him to believe um, his ensign or his assistant Iago over his own wife. And again, there were those words that were said all the time. Uh, if she deceived her father, she's obviously likely to deceive you. So Othello's insecurities about his race and age and lack of experience with women intensify a tendency to expect the worst of the opposite sex. Obviously, those insecurities are not an excuse for Othello to go and collapse into this homicidal sexual jealousy, but we're trying to kind of explain and uncover any inherent reasons. Um, so here, as you can see, Shakespeare makes it clear how much the hero resembles Iago. I mean, obviously they become a little similar, especially in their attitudes towards women. They take pride in being, masculine, and obviously they show distrust towards women, whether those women are their own wives or pretty much any Venetian women at the time. To the extent that you're going to see him when those suspicions and doubts take the best of him is going to dwindle and decline to the level of Iago's pornographic imagination. and he's going to say bad stuff and bad things, things that would touch and violate the honor of his own wife, referring to her um, in the general camp where pioneers and all had tasted her sweet body. So obviously, this is very um, bad taste, and this is obnoxious, and obviously it allies him and to Iago and makes him very similar to Iago. And we have to even stop here and ask, where is the Othello that we were fascinated with? Where is this highly elevated musical language that everybody was uh, um, in love with? Where is, remember what Wilson Knight said about this language and how highly elevated. I mean, Wilson Knight was ready to absolve him of all the guilt of killing his wife simply because of the language. Where is the language now if he is referring to his wife using this pornographic imagery and this pornographic language? So what the Othello music has, where is this what the Othello music has become? This is a question that we keep asking. So obviously, we're seeing Othello getting metamorphosed into another Iago. Again, they share the same views about women and perhaps about the world. There is enchanting poetry still in what Othello says, but at the same time, a decaying set of values. Um, Othello is not going to fall uh, uh, um, in the trap, not only fall in the trap that Iago is setting for him, he is going to crawl. He's going to also took Iago's language and take over from Iago all his obsession. This is an observation by Jan Kot, the Polish critic. So obviously, Iago and Othello are now similar. They share the same view about women. They speak and behave in a similar way, and this is obviously quite a loss because of our high opinion of Othello. And then we move on to Act 3, Scene 3, where we're going to start to have this, um, you know, direction towards violence in there. Who is violent here and who is going to die? I'm asking you. Whose violence are we talking about and whose death are we talking about? Any idea? Obviously, we're talking about violence meted out by Othello now that he suspects that there is a relationship between Desdemona and Cassio. And obviously, the one who's going to be on the receiving end of this kind of violence would be Desdemona. He's going to kill her. And there is going to be this encounter between Othello and Desdemona. Again, he is declining and he's going to start to give us another interesting speech. I mean, we're so used to his eloquence, of course, um, his highly elevated language, even if it is misdirected and wrong-headed. He is now saying, I mean, he was talking to her and she left, and after she left, he said this, excellent wretch, perdition catch my soul, but I do love thee, and when I love thee not, chaos is come again. Come to think about it, this is still highly elevated. This is still very poetic. This is still or has the obscurity of poetry. Poetry is not up for grabs, and it's not for the faint-hearted, obviously. So it's this is still big, and this is still noble. What does he say? He says, excellent rich. Rich means poor. Yeah, I mean, poor not in a literal material sense. When I say excellent, it means we are all poor. We're poor. We're like when you say to somebody, poor you. Yeah, miskin. So obviously he's talking about himself and Desdemona and pretty much everybody else. Yeah, masakin. إحنا masakin. Perdition catch my soul is saying that I can see uh, death and destruction looming on the horizon. But I do love thee. I I love thee, and look at do, which is obviously very forceful, and it gives emphasis. I do love thee. Thee is a reference to Desdemona. I love you. And when I love thee not, and if I don't love you anymore, he's obviously talking to Desdemona or about her, chaos is come again. Chaos will engulf the world. Chaos will be the result. So this is obviously poetic. This is also big. This is also um, foreshadowing the fact that he is giving us hints about what will happen next, which is the idea of him killing her and then committing suicide. Obviously, this is chaos, but you would ask, is this real chaos? Because we're talking about a domestic tragedy. Would killing, yeah, killing is big. I know murdering somebody is big, but is it such a case? Then obviously, when we use case, we're talking about the whole universe. Do you think it's that big when if there is this murder case? I mean, obviously, and as we speak, lots of people are murdering each other in different corners of the world, right? So describing what will happen as chaos, don't you think that this is a little bit in keeping with the character of Othello? Because we know Othello has this hyperbolic nature, the fact that he uses exaggerated language. He's saying that if I stop loving you, chaos will be the result. But of course, by chaos, he means, you know, this slaughter and killing. So what we're trying to say here is that it is true that he is declining. It is true that he is now more similar than ever to Iago in worldview and in action, but he still retains some of his poeticity. Chaos, I mean, remember what we said, the fact that he links himself and his actions to the cosmos, to the elements, whether we're talking about the sky, we're talking about the sea, we're talking about the desert. So this is another example of his hyperbolic nature, if you like. So this is a typically grand hyperbolic utterance, exaggerated, like we said. And there is obviously ambiguity in using the word perdition. And again, if we accept the fact that he is speaking in poetry, poetry has this measure of ambiguity to it. And this is perhaps the beauty of poetry, that it's not up for grabs. I mean, you need to think twice about it. Poetry if you ask me, is the most abstract and intellectual among the arts and literary genres. So again, we keep coming back to the question, the perennial question: is the deception of Othello a matter of Iago's manipulation of his fears and insecurities? Or is Iago, after all, a diabolic and a consummate Machiavel or villain? Um, so is it, in other words, is it the fears and insecurities of Othello that led him to do what he did, or is it the pure evil and the Machiavellian character of Iago? A question that we need to think of and try to answer as we go along. And then we go
Uh,
to, yeah, go ahead.
I think ego find the insecurity and use it against him.
Yeah.
So I think Iago was planning from the beginning, but he didn't find the means. After he find the insecurity in Othello personality, yeah, he was armed.
You're trying to say there, Abdurrahman, if I understand you correctly, you're trying to say that it's a combination of both. The fears and insecurities together with the cunning and
Yes.
Machiavellian nature of Iago, right? Nice, very good. So in Act 4, we have this incident of the handkerchief that was dropped by mistake by Desdemona, and the fact that she didn't tell him about it, and she was not, kind of honest about it. Um, Obviously, that would lead to Othello's being half crazed. That would lead him into further incoherence and rage. And obviously, Iago is there looking and masterminding the whole thing. Again, signs of decline upon the part of uh, um, um, Othello. We're going to see that Othello is now uh, doing exactly what Iago was doing. He is now eavesdropping on Cassio and Desdemona. He is now reduced to doing the same things, secretly watching Iago and Cassio and misinterpreting what he sees, going on to will himself into believing the worst of Desdemona. We have a very interesting scene here, very significant indeed, and very also prophetic of what we have ahead. It's what we normally refer to as the melancholy scene. Melancholy means sadness and misery. So this scene has Emilia and Desdemona. And Emilia, by the way, is the maidservant of Desdemona, and she is also the wife of Iago, but she's different, obviously. She's honest, she's not as bad. So, like I said, Desdemona and Emilia are together in Desdemona's bedroom, and obviously, Emilia is preparing her for bed. Um, Obviously, in situations like these, you would think that and assume and even expect that the upper class lady, the mistress, would be in command. She's perhaps controlling the conversation and directing it, and the maid servant would be only listening or reacting as directed. But This time around, and in this scene, you will see that Emilia is doing all the talking, that Emilia is more forceful, that Emilia is more assertive, and Desdemona is reduced to a mere uh, what a mere cornered individual who is helpless and non-assertive and is ready for whatever her husband decides for her, life or death. So perhaps the most surprising thing about it is how far it anticipates the end and Desdemona's death scene. This scene is one of many moments of proleptic irony. They call it proleptic irony or foreshadowing in the play. Again, it's about dropping hints at what may happen. Dramatically, this is a moment of rest before the headlong rush of Act 5. What it depicts, it's an intimate moment between women, contrasting sharply with all the scenes between men or of men surrounded by and dominated by men. I mean, we're talking about women being surrounded by and dominated by men. And obviously, we're talking about a harsh environment where men are soldiers or courtiers or senators. So the scene here contrasts what we have been seeing all through the male characters talking to each other. We have this two females reclining and talking. You know, women talk, which is obviously going to be softer, or perhaps we're assuming that it's going to be softer. Um, and more womanly, if you like. Um, so this scene describes a moment of heightened tension because of its content, and it relates the story of Barbary, who happens to be Desdemona's mother's maid. She was possibly black because of the name, Barbary. Even nowadays, we're using the word. Whose lover, so Barbary, the Desdemona's mother's maid, whose lover proved mad and did forsake her, and who died singing a song of Willow. So obviously, this is perhaps a reenactment of what is happening in the play, what is unfolding. So the maid has a lover who obviously gone mad and forsake her and abandoned her. So this is obviously, if you can set those parallels between Barbary's lover and Desdemona's lover, and the fact that both of them are black and both of them will eventually abandon their lady loves. Uh, and Barbary sang a song of willow that is full of suffering, full of sobbing and complaining. So the willow song here expresses female despair and longing and passive acceptance towards the lover. And this is what it um, it ends with. Let nobody blame him, his scorn I approve. Whether this is Desdemona's words or perhaps Barbary's words too, it's the same. The fact that let the two lovers let's not, and this is perhaps what Desdemona is saying, singing the song, saying, let nobody blames Othello, his scorn I approve. I approve him, I approve of what he does, and I accept whatever he decides for me, even if it means killing me or putting an end to my life. Obviously, this is very surprising for us because we haven't seen Desdemona that week before. This is the same Desdemona who defied her family and challenged the traditions of her culture and race and got married to a black guy. So obviously she defied the world. She stood up against the whole world in choosing a black man for a husband. So see how declined in terms of how declining she is in terms of power and strength. You couldn't believe yourself that this is the same Desdemona that we hold in great esteem as a cultural voyager, as a challenger of a whole culture, uh, um, and a whole system of belief that believes in the idea of hierarchy. So this is very different. Is this the Desdemona who could resist her father's pleas, marry in secret, and depart from her home city for a foreign shore? Um, and obviously, Desdemona cannot get the song out of her mind, and she proceeds to sing it. So obviously, the words and context of the song would make us more aware of Desdemona's own tragic situation, in which her lover too has gone mad and she has become the apparently passive victim of his lunacy and madness. Um, so as you are going to see, Emilia is not going to stay silent to what is going on and what her mistress is saying. She, which is obviously out of keeping with her position at the bottom of the ladder, she's going to challenge the system and she's going to speak out. So Emilia's last speech is a plea for recognition of women's equal humanity and challenges the anti-woman sentiments expressed by so many of the male characters in it. She's going to, uh, um, um, yeah, during this conversation with Desdemona in this Welu song scene, she's going to start to talk about men and how they take women for granted, and this has to stop, and women should restore their rights. And also, she goes on speaking about and exploring the reasons why women may go wrong and do something wrong. It's because of their husbands, because of what men do. So Emilia's lengthy defense of the rights of wives opens up the whole question of how women were treated at the time and later. And this is what she says. And listen very carefully because it's very eloquent. What she says is very eloquent, is very well said. If wives do fall, say that they slack their duties, let husbands know their wives have sins like them. They see and smell, and have not we affections, desires for sport and frailty, as men have, then let them use us well, else let them know the else we do, their else instruct us so. Very poetic, very condensed. This is um, her again. This is what she said again. I would like you to read it very well and reflect it. This is Emilia. Go ahead, read it on your own. Let it sink in and try to understand it. What do you think? If you're going to also analyze this. What does it say? Yeah.
It say like the men should not treat us like subjects or objects. We are equal human. We have the same desires.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, go ahead.
and what I realized that she didn't blame, um, she don't accept the mistake if the girl like cheat her husband, but she see it like if her husband don't do his, I don't know how to say it, واجباته
Mhm.
in good way.
Yes. And that's also about, yeah, we're human beings just like men. We may make mistakes like them. We also, we also are entitled to happiness and fun. Okay. And if we do mistakes, it's actually it's them pushing us to do those mistakes. Very eloquent, very well said. And again, I'm stressing the fact that you wouldn't expect that from a lowborn. You wouldn't expect that from a maidservant. If I haven't said it, you would expect this to come from Desdemona, the high class individual, rather than from the maidservant. And then we move on to Act 5. And I think I have to keep this to um, I don't know whether I'll be able to even, yeah, let me share what I have. I have a meeting now, and this, what we have done is obviously not. And I'm meeting the other group on Tuesday, and perhaps we're going to kind of change the time a little bit because I will have another meeting at 2 p.m. on Tuesday. So I'll agree with them that we meet at 4 on Tuesday, and I would like you. Would it be Tuesday or Wednesday? I think it can be Wednesday. I would like you to attend on Wednesday so that we can finish off Othello once and for all and start the Duchess of Malfi. So it's going to be Wednesday, next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Say okay. Say you will come. Promise that you will come.
This Wednesday, yes, it will
Yeah,
come.
yeah, I am making it Wednesday. I'm making it at 4 so that everybody can come. Then obviously you won't have any conflicting lectures by then, right?
Yes,
Okay, so inshallah, we're meeting on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Clear, everyone?
yes,
Okay, طيب. I'll see you inshallah on Wednesday. At what time? Now we're saying 4 o'clock so that uh, we stay away from conflicting with other classes. Okay, we're recording the class anyway, Sarah. You may want to listen to the recording. Okay. Um, yeah, on this note and with this item, we'll come to the end of today's class. I'll see you on Wednesday at 4 p.m. inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Bye bye.